try again. Take two. I think, I don't know if any of that came through the last time, but it froze on me. So welcome to Friday. Welcome to today's chat, which is about the Zoomies. Zoomies. Particularly in the evening, and also this over-the-top growling and snarling that they do, and they're throwing themselves at you and they're hanging off your clothes, all that kind of thing. It's basically really annoying. Usually happens in very young beagles, particularly puppies and adolescents. I'm just going to check I'm live, because I have to say I've had some real issues with Facebook this week, and it is driving me a little bit insane. Someone's here. Yes, I am live. Awesome. Okay, so let's get on with it. Zoomies and this over-the-top snarling, biting, grabbing onto your clothes in the evening. And historically, we've been told that this is because they're not tired. We need to knock them out. We need to play with them. And, and I've got clients who are still playing with their beagles at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, that's way too late. Or you must walk them, take them for a walk around the block before bed. And that will tire them out. It's absolutely the wrong thing to do, unfortunately. It may work, because eventually what's happening is they will crash because they are so tired. But actually that period of time when they're running around like loonies, and also they're throwing themselves at you and biting you and really hurting you, it's because they're tired. And if any of you have had a toddler like I have, in the evenings that when their behaviour is erratic, so one minute they're happy, the next minute they're sad and crying, and then the next they're trying to hit you because they don't want to go to bed, that they're tired and they need to go to bed. And this is exactly the same thing with beagle puppies. So basically, keeping them up after 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night is just not what we do. We want to actually have them in bed between at least 5 p.m. and 7:30 and earlier if we're getting this mad behaviour. And that's because, and this is where the science comes in, I like a little bit of science, where basically, and this is exactly the same in toddlers, when it starts to get into the night time kind of thing, our bodies and our beagles are flooded with melatonin, and that is the hormone that sends us off to sleep. And it starts off quite light and it gets heavier, and that's when we're asleep, and then it leaves our body in the morning, so that's what wakes us up. And what happens with the puppies and the toddlers, when this melatonin starts to kick in, they don't know what to do with it. And this is why, as mums and dads, we have to put our babies and our toddlers to bed. Because what we're doing, in fact, is teaching them that this feeling that you have in your body, which is making you feel really weird and a little bit hyper and a little bit sad, is actually, it means you're tired. You need to go to bed. So we put our toddlers to bed. Beagle puppies behave in exactly the same way. They are so unique in this, and it doesn't seem to happen in other breeds of dogs as much, but they have to be taught that this feeling that they're having, where they don't know what to do with themselves, so they're doing these zoomies all around everywhere and they're biting us because they're overstimulated and they just don't know what to do, is bedtime. And this is a very sure sign, and this is why I get a lot of calls from people who say in the evening or late afternoons they just can't handle their beagles because they're crazy, they're all over the place, and it's because they're tired. And particularly if they're doing this at sort of 4 or 5 o'clock and they've been awake for 2 or 3 hours, then they absolutely need to be in bed. My guys are older now, but come sort of 5 o'clock, once they've had their tea, that's that, they're done. They either sleep in the garden if it's a nice day, they'll sleep in my office, they'll sleep on the sofa, they get up for their last wee around 10, and then they go upstairs and they go to bed. And that's because our beagles really do need that huge long 12, 14 hours overnight. And if you've got a beagle puppy who's going to bed and is awake until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, they're not getting that amount of sleep, and actually they should be in bed. So what can you do? Well, ideally, if you are using a crate, it's bedtime, crate time. go into their crates, and obviously they come out again around 9-10 o'clock, whatever time you go to bed. They go for a wee, they go back into their crate. Get into that lovely habit, and what you'll find is when they hit 18 months, they'll start to do it themselves. They will never take themselves off to their crate until they're much older. You know, you can't expect a 20-week-old puppy to know when to go to bed. I couldn't have expected my 6-month-old daughter to know when to go to bed. We've got to have a routine with them until they're about 18 months old, and we have to teach them this. What you're feeling and this hyperness that you're feeling is either overstimulated or overtired, so it's time for a rest or a nap. You know, this is why crates are so important, because they help us to put them in their cot so that they're contained, and it makes them go to sleep. What though if you've got a puppy who refuses to use the crate? Well, they sleep in it overnight, but they're refusing to use it at any other time. Sit by it. And you may have to do this for a week or two. Sit by that crate. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Don't engage with them. You're just going to be there as a comforter. And then they will bark. They will whine. They'll gnaw at those bars and everything else. But they're just seeing what they can do to get out of the crate. You know they can do it because they're doing it overnight. It's just that they've decided they don't want to do it now because you're awake. And that's the difference. When you're awake, they don't want to be in their crates. They want to follow you around. They want to make sure you're still there. But then at night time, when you go to bed and they go to bed, they're happy with that. So just be there as a comfort for them. And you may have to do this for a few nights until eventually they understand. I go in my crate, I whine for 5-10 minutes, and then I go off to sleep. Very much like a baby. And then if you really can't use the crate, or you haven't been using a crate, then the other alternative is that we can tether them. So that's just a lead, and I would actually get a lead that isn't your walking lead, and we either hold it if we want them to have a little nap beside us on the sofa, but they can obviously nip at your hands, and you've got to have a bit of a technique to do this. You know, you might be wiggling around quite a bit. But the other thing you can do, which is what we do, because Billy's anxiety means that sometimes he can't settle in the evenings and we have to sort of do it for him, is that we have it tied under our sofa, and there's a dog bed underneath, and then when he can't sleep, we clip him on, and he's so used to this technique now that it's like someone's given him permission to go to sleep. Clip it on, curls up and goes to sleep, and then when he's been asleep for about 10-15 minutes, I unhook him. You may have to keep it on because the sleep cycle of a Beagle is about 20 minutes, and when they're puppies, they'll do their 20 minutes and they're like, yay, I'm awake, I can get up now. And it's like, no, you need to sleep, you need to keep sleeping. So if you are suffering with these Zoomies, it's overbiting in the evening, you don't have to. You just put them to bed because they need a lot of sleep. These guys need 18 to 20 hours sleep, and when they're adolescents, at least 16 to 18. You know, my guys still are on 16 hours. They are actually a very sleepy breed, you know, compared to, say, a German Shepherd who can live off 12 to 14 hours. The Beagle sleeps a lot to conserve its energy so that when it's hunting it can do it full on. So yeah, absolutely, if you are struggling with that, then bedtime, you know, and don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. You wouldn't keep your toddler up till 10 o'clock at night with them causing carnage, would you? So you don't need to do it with your puppy. And if you do walk them to tire them out, or you do play with them, you'll be doing that when they're 3 years old. You don't want to be doing that. I worked with a client whose Beagle was still playing ball and tug at 9 p.m. and they were exhausted. They just wanted to sit in front of the TV. So we had to retrain him to understand that evening from 5-6 o'clock you start to slow down and you start to nap for the evening, and now he's brilliant. So start as you mean to go on. Teach your Beagle, puppy or adolescent dog that they need to chill out in the evenings and start to go to sleep. Teach them what that melatonin is, because they won't do it themselves. I promise you, they're not going to do it themselves. So hope that helps. Happy weekend. Oh, happy bank holiday in the UK. I'm actually having Monday off, so I'll be back to work Tuesday, and we've also got some sunshine. Yes. Right, have a good one. See you soon. Bye.